This is my 10-year anniversary of the Developer Days, so my personal anniversary. This is the 10th time I'm at the Developer Days, and I have one very important question I wanted to ask you to get started, and that's what? Like this? Better? Okay. Okay, so I have a question, and that question is, why are you here? So, I'm here for the 10th time, and that's a good time to ask, why am I going back every year? What's here that I want to see or hear? And there's, of course, the very boring answer my boss sent me. Might be an answer. There's the slightly less obvious answer, which is probably the answer for some of you, the talks. So I went back in time and took a look at the 2009 talks. That's the schedule, by the way, from 2009, and took a look at what kind of talks did we have the year. So we had the 4.4 kickoff, we had new features in TYPO3 4.3, and we had stuff around TYPO3, which not is directly related, like the miseries of char sets. It's still a misery. And we had unit testing for the TYPO3 core, so remember the unit testing thing. Then I went a bit forward in time, so 2015, new layout. We have how to connect open source development and management, so a bit out of the TYPO3 scope, but still it's about TYPO3 and everything around it. As you can see, we had Neos and Flow back then, which we don't have now, but in the end, it doesn't really matter. So the talks are, from the topics, pretty similar. So I did some statistics, because hey, why not? And we have 26.7 talks about TYPO3 CMS on average each year. We have an introduction to unit testing every year. So by the way, who's unit testing regularly? See? And that's why we have that talk even after 10 years. We have talks about the core, about the future of the TYPO3 core. We have talks about extension development and talks that go beyond even TYPO3. So what about this year? Some statistics again. We have 19 beginner talks, 17 advanced and pro talks, and 6 workshops, and 2 introductions to unit testing. But if I'm honest, the talks after 10 years, and I'm actually doing unit testing pretty regularly, the talks isn't why I am here, and I need to start at the beginning again, in 2009. Back then I was shy and insecure and didn't like people much and hated socializing. So these guys are like, okay, what changed? But in a way, it was really hard for me to go to the Developer Days because it was such a big event and I wanted to get to know the people. I was active on the mailing list and in the community, but I didn't know anybody yet. And then my best friend and me back then decided to go to the Developer Days. And I was so happy and excited and I wanted to go. And one day before the event, he wrote me, I think it was an SMS back then, and told me that he didn't want to go because there was this party with a girl and he wanted to go there, and I hated him a little bit after that, but I got really angry and I was like, I don't care, I will go there, even if I don't know anybody and even if it's the worst thing I'll ever do, I will go there just to show you. So I drove by car and then stayed in the car for like an hour to gather my courage to get out and stand in line and get my badge, and standing in line was actually okay. So that was something that I was used to do. But then afterwards, I went outside and I was alone again and started to really be afraid. Because, oh my God, so many people and nobody talks to me and everybody will hate me. It took 5 minutes. It was really 5 minutes from that moment to having 5 other people around me, talking to me, asking where I was from, and wanting to join me in my experience with TYPO3. And ever since then, kind of my point, I'm coming back for the community, for this community, for the fun part. So these are pictures from the developer days 2008 to 2011, and some of these guys might be still around. And for these guys, and Batman, who's coming to save us whenever something goes wrong, and yoga in the morning, and people just being nice to each other. This is what TYPO3 Developer Days is about for me. That's why I come back. So we have dedicated events for that this year, like the coding night on Friday and the social event on Saturday. But I'd ask you to go and get connected, not in that way, but in the non-literal way. Get involved with each other, have lunch together, and if you see somebody standing somewhere alone, please include them, please talk to them, and get involved. Also not in the totally literal sense, please. And just have fun and make connections, and maybe in 10 years you will stand here and do the keynote and be happy about it. So think about, why are you here? What do you want from this event? And if you have an answer that fits into whatever the char limit for Twitter is at these days, 280, then please tweet that and see if there's somebody else who shares your interests. And then you can get connected and make more of your experience. And that is actually the part where I hand over to you.
I'm already tweeting whatever.
Okay, so I need to spend
Isn't
10
it
more
the
seconds.
time where we now tweet?
Yeah, but that's also...
Take out your phones.
They should tweet, and you should actually go and
Prepare. Okay, I'll do that. Oh yeah. This won't work. So, 1 second. So now that we have the introduction, the keynote, I do the thing that I do every year, talk about the next version. Version 10. That's okay. And of course, version 10 is the one after version 9. I sometimes mention this X, as you know, people love iPhone X or they hate it. And of course, after version X, there will be XR and XS. Just be prepared. But somehow I told Matthias that back then, and people approached me and said, well, somebody said version 9 was feature complete. And actually that's my statement. Because what I really like with version 9 is that I can set up a new website without having any third-party extension running. And that's my definition of the core is feature complete in a way that I'm not waiting for an extension to be compatible so I can upgrade. Of course, I still have that issue, but just with a, for my personal blog, I can do that now. Anyways, enough about version 9. Let's talk about version 10. That's why you're here. Okay, you're here because of the socializing. Yeah, I got that. But we're here because of version 10, and we love new features. And there are a lot of people already talking about version 10. It was released 10 days ago. I already created extensions that are compatible with version 10. You can do that too. And anybody of you using version 10 already in production? No? Oh, okay. Oh, one person. 2 people. That's great. I sometimes, we're here, we're developers. I really like that. Because we love new features, we love the new cool things. Jochen just mentioned this. I'm really excited about your presentation, what's new. Well, you can read all this stuff on typo3.org on the news that I posted. Did somebody read this? There, quite, a few. Sometimes people will say, like, what's new? It's like, read it on typo3.org. Oh, really? You added a news there? Yes, that's what I do to tell everybody. But because it's not enough, I'm here. So I'll give you a quick rundown on version 10. Of course, there are a lot of people who are like, well, version 10, I don't know. People are like, we're moving too fast. And then there are people who are excited, and we're all excited. That's why I'm going to tell you that's new in version 10. We have this, it's the same slide as last year. Actually, it's a lot about PSRs, standards, blah, blah, blah. We have new mail APIs, a lot of cool things about Fluid. We have form improvements and events instead of hooks. And there's also going to be 2 sessions at the developer days about this. And we have dependency injection. If you love that, version 10 is for you. That's it. Version 10 also has a couple of haters already. Not because it's the X, whatever. It's because it's a new version and people are like, how do I sell this to my customers? Just because it's like developer porn, I don't see the benefit of doing that. We're updating from version 9, from version 7 or 6.2 to version 8 currently, and it's such a pain in the ass. Really, I try to avoid from the strong words or refrain from them, but still they come out. Some people actually said real URL was easier than this whole site handling stuff, just because it worked for 10 years and now I have to change something. I'm the same kind of person because, I just want to upgrade my browsers without any problems, and I still want to have the same with the CMS. But I still don't want to use Windows XP or even 95. I actually want the new stuff because I thought it would be better. But in the end, I'm lazy and I'm really good at complaining. And I guess I have a lot of people here who are really the same kind of person. But the fun thing is that's how open source works. I'm here telling you that's how it works in the next version. And either you like it or not. You have to deal with that. And that's everything about version 10. Thanks for listening. Try out the new version. You can download it on gettypo3.org. It's really, really great. Take it. And yeah, you laughed. Some say, that's boring. Well, if it's the same as last year, next year I'll just take the same presentation. I thought, well, maybe we'll talk about something else. I put that claim on version 10 called X marks the spot. And for me, it's the X marks the spot is if you take a treasure map like the pirates or on an adventure and go on an adventure. And version 10 or the X is not, it's not about, or the X is not about version 10, it's actually about going on an adventure. I'll share some more details, but every time I think about adventures, I think about Indiana Jones. I don't know how many times I've watched all of the Indiana Jones movies. I really like them. I hope somebody knows. Is there somebody who doesn't know Indiana Jones? Yeah, that's good. Maybe you've seen it, but there's one part, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, and I want to show you a quick clip from that movie, and I hope everybody can hear that.
Marcus, I've seen this window before.
Where?
Right here, in Dad's diary. You see?
Look, Indy. The Roman numerals.
Dad was onto something here. Well, now we know the source of the numbers, but we still don't know what they mean. Dad sent me this diary for a reason. Until we find out why, I suggest we keep it to ourselves.
Find something?
Yes, 3, 7, and 10. The window seems to be the source of the Roman numerals.
My God, I must be blind.
Dad wasn't looking for a book about the knight's tomb. He was looking for the tomb itself. Don't you get it? The tomb is somewhere in the library. You said yourself it used to be a church. Look. 3, 7, 7, 10,
And 10.
Now, where's the 10? Look around for the 10.
On an adventure, and he was just getting started, and he had some clues. And well, I believe with TYPO3, we're on a treasure hunt as well. And I'm going to go on a treasure hunt. If you're interested, you can join. And everybody can join. Every one of you can help finding that actually our target, and every one of you can find gold. That's actually X marks the spot, what I'm going to talk about today. So somewhere I found this map, and there's this X. There's some way to get there, and we'll see what this means. It's not, I'm going to tell you, it's not going to be the LTS version in April, but the X for me is much more than version 10, because I believe today I can start with the X as a new era for our community, actually. For me, TYPO3 I've seen these pictures now from 10 years ago, and I'm feeling a bit ashamed. But anyways, TYPO3 has influenced all of you already, because that's why you're here. You somehow deal with it at work, or for your company, website, whatever you're doing with it. Maybe you're actually working at an agency. However, being at the developer days, working with TYPO3, open source connects people, and it has changed my life. When I had a family incident, a lot of people from the TYPO3 community supported me in so many different ways. And that's when I felt, wow, it's not just, TYPO3 open source, it's actually when people care about each other. And I feel TYPO3 is, we're feeling we're keeping this stuff for ourselves, not just the code. It's more about that the good feeling and the things we share and we have in common, that we only keep that for ourselves. Well, of course, we talk about it a bit, but we can do a much better job. So let's go on this adventure. However, when we try to move, it's not possible. We're still stuck. We're somehow not able to get to this X. At least in the last year, my impression was that I have a lot of people complaining and ranting. We're here and we're nice to each other, of course, right now. And then I really hate this guy, and why do I have to do this? And why couldn't just TYPO3 GmbH, now that it's there, take over all the work so we don't have to do anything anymore and we just can sit back and relax? And sometimes I also have disputes, discussions about, no, you're doing it wrong. You're a bad person. That's not how you should code an extension, or that's not how you should run your projects or updates. Do it my way because I know how it works. I get this feeling a lot, and I feel we can't even move in our current situation. And I identified 3 issues because of that. The first is something I call the guru problem. There's version 9 and the routing stuff, and there's just Benni and Ollie who actually know how the details work. I got this feedback yesterday. But anyways, it's like, Benni knows so much more than everybody else. It's not true. Some things I know really good or really well. The whole TypoScript and standard wrap, I actually used TYPO3 for 3 or 4 years. That was back then. And I did not know what standard wrap meant. For 3 or 4 years, totally fine. I didn't know what an extension, how I could build my own extension. There's a workshop later to explain that. I wish we'd have that 12 years ago. Maybe there was. I didn't attend it. But the whole TypoScript stuff, now I know it by heart, because I actually learned the PHP source code by heart. But that was 10 years ago. And I talked about dependency injection. I don't know what that is. I kind of know what it is. I know like 20%. So don't ask me about that. I know it's cool, but I don't know the details. I'm not the guru, and Matthias is not the guru. There's so many people who know so many things. But we're still thinking, well, it has to be in the core, and then Benni builds it, and then it will be maintained by him forever. The second part is the innovation inability. Well, we're all working websites, CMS. It's still the same as 10 years ago. Now we have responsive websites. We do some image cropping stuff now. But we're good in what we're doing right now. And I feel we can do better. The innovation inability is that we're lacking to be the leaders and the innovators for CMS. We have to think more than what we're doing right now. And the third part is the silence situation. A lot of people do stuff and they don't talk about it. So people are like, why is there no headless version of TYPO3 here? That was one response for my news, actually, on typo3.org. And I get this feedback a lot. However, I'm just, again, a regular guy. I work at a company, and we're building websites with TYPO3. I built a headless part of TYPO3 front end, actually, for our customers with reading and writing and all this stuff. That was 1 year ago, and I did not tell anybody. It's not ready, and it's kind of specific, and these kind of things. Actually, that's a stupid move of myself to just not talk about it. I should have made a session out of that. The main issue is, I think there are a lot of people here who've done a lot of cool things, but they're like, yeah, it's too specific, and there's no documentation and no unit tests. I'm sorry. well, if we're stuck with these kind of things, the question is, how do we find the gold when we're on the adventure? And now I've talked a lot about the bad parts in our community, at least the bad parts I'm aware of. You know, I know all of you are nice people and everything, but there are good parts too. TYPO3 community is really special and unique. We have a passion for what we're doing. We're dedicated to a content management. I know all the Magento folks already left to some other conventions years ago, and we're just focusing on content management, and we're doing a really good job, and we're resilient. That means we're still here after more than 20 years doing content management, and I've been to quite some conferences, and I've also evaluated some other content management systems in the past year, also the non-open source ones, and I still think TYPO3 does a really, really great job in managing content. So the question is, how could we move? And I wish there would be some kind of a secret weapon, so all our problems would go away and we just go out. And I'm going to tell you a couple of things now, and I will repeat them multiple times, mostly because they're so important for me. So there's a reason why. I'm going to tell you that you are the secret weapon. I haven't seen any open source community that is not driven by developers. Maybe there is one, but the developers are the innovators. The developers are the ones who actually come up with the new ideas, not management. They're just going to dictate that you have to finish it in time, right? And we have to be better than the others. But we're the smart ones. We're the ones with the things, the ideas in our heads. And again, you're like, yeah, that's true for you, Benny. No. I have to tell you, each of you, everyone, as good as you are, you don't need to be a composer expert. You can run TYPO3 without Composer and still you're okay. You're not a bad person because of that. Or you don't use Git. That does not matter. And if you don't know PHP and make instance stuff, don't worry. You're good as you are. The second part is, you know more than you think. Oh, Benny knows all the answers. No. I know, I had a colleague at my company, and he's like looking at my code for our project, and he's like, that's ugly. Yeah, I kind of, I can tell you a lot of reasons why, because I started like 6 years ago, blah, blah, blah. It's like, you can do better than that. And it's like, I don't know how. I'll just explain it to you on my project, and you'll just make a pull request, and then we'll finish it together. It's like, okay. And I'm like, okay, there's some smart guy, and he didn't tell me for a year that he knows all this stuff. I know the situation that people come to me like, now I spent like 1 day, and there are a couple of people who are like, I spent 1 day finding a bug, TYPO3 sucks, and then there are people who are like, finally I found an issue, or I found a solution for my problem after 1 day, and I just X-class something, and it's already in my customer project, customer is happy, I can close the ticket. That's something that you know more than I do. I don't spend 1 day on that bug because I don't know that bug. And you see the issue here. We can multiply this concept because I can spend 1 day for all the bugs, but we have so many people here, we can do that. And you've already mastered this. You've already done this. And even though your project throws deprecations or whatever, you know so many things that you can contribute to this community. And then I also figured sometimes it's better, or not just sometimes, it's always better to work together. Sometimes I have an idea in my head and I just need to talk to somebody, talk to my colleagues, and they're like, yeah, that's a stupid idea, or there's an extension, just use this, cool. Or, yeah, I read that last week on a blog, stuff like that. Or I call them up, I just explain my issue to somebody, and after I explained it for 5 minutes, I already know the solution, how to continue further, just by expressing what we're doing. And the community part is really important here. One last topic in this area is that open source does not mean it's perfect. Core is not the holy grail like Indiana Jones thinks. Core is not perfect. We all know that. And GmbH is not here for doing our jobs. They're actually supporting the community in so many other ways that we as developers can deal with that. So I'm really bad in marketing. So that's something they can help, but not fix the bugs. And it's like, GmbH will take care of that. No. Open source means we're all in there together, and we don't have to be perfect for what we're doing. In addition, there's more than we're currently doing. We can fix all the bugs, and then in 1 year we have fixed all the bugs, and then we have CMS without bugs, okay? But there's way more things to do with content management. And then are people who just are not PHP developers, or people who are, maybe you're here and you're not a good developer and you know that you will never be the specialist in a specific area for TYPO3 whatever, but you're just using it as an integrator, but you're really good in explaining things to others, finding the right words. Does not matter if it's Swedish or German or English, you can do that. A lot of people, like I'm really bad in CSS, but a lot of people who is like, I can't contribute to TYPO3 core, like if there's a coding night, that's great. I can't do anything. I'm really bad at CSS, so I'm really happy if I would have people who do that part, because we need people like that in the community as well. And I actually want to mention two people, one that do a really great job, and the one is Wolfgang Wagner, who's doing a lot of video tutorials. He says for himself, he's not an expert in development, but he loves making videos, and he loves TYPO3. Well, that's great. And the other person is Matthias Broderlein. He's somehow managed a way to be everywhere and helping everybody on Stack Overflow, on Slack, and just giving supportive feedback and help out a lot of people. I would say at least more than 500 people have gotten support from him for free, and that's his place. The question remains, what's your spot? So where's your right place? And if we look back at Indiana Jones, some people just are standing actually on the spot already, or are just next to it. Bringing me back to my map, there are a lot of axes here. There are a lot of places, and for everybody here in this room, there's a different spot. The challenge is to find what's your sweet spot, what's your place in this community. I'm happy to help here. I have a couple of ideas that just pop out of my head. They don't need to be core-related. We had this Zap the Gremlins thing. Oliver actually wants to take over that part tomorrow. Zap the Gremlins mean I want to fix 10 bugs in the next 6 months. Why not? Having 10 bugs fixed in 6 months is better than 0 bugs fixed. Then there's easy things like I have an extension for my customer. Why don't I just publish that on the TER or on GitHub? Some things that are just always a pain for me during my daily business is when I get a lot of complaints. I spend a lot of time creating custom content elements. That takes a lot of time, like 60% of my work time. Okay, if you've done this for a year, then maybe your spot is to find you're really good at this part because you've done this for a year, 60% of your work time. So you know a lot more than I do. Maybe you find others to group and find a spot to do this kind of work and come up with a better solution that we're currently having. Because we can only achieve this together. I can't do this on my own. I'm also just, I also sleep. Some people ask that. I only can do so much. Then the other thing that, stuff that annoys me is like I publish something on GitHub. It would be great to have that automatically. Wouldn't it be cool to have that automatically into the TER synced? Yes, maybe some of you have thought about that already. Maybe we'll find a couple of people here to join forces and do that. Shouldn't be too hard. Sebastian just said he has this running, so maybe you're the first one to join this initiative. And then there's lots of other, I call it new shit, things that we haven't done yet in TYPO3. I heard shopware is really cool. Maybe you want to integrate that. A lot of other integrations that you can build. My colleagues love Vue.js, and I'm like, just build a backend module based on Vue.js, and I can learn from that and see how we can, make the core more generic to have that pluggable. Because if everybody's doing Vue, I would like to have the TYPO3 community not just talk about things that we've done in the last 10 years, but actually what we can do in the next 5 years. So the X for me is, of course, you'll see the version 10 part, and we'll have that released in April, the final version. But maybe, and my wish is actually that we have a lot of extensions, most of the extensions compatible with version 10. We'll try to be non-breaking from now on until the LTS to actually have all of our extensions ready. We can try out the new hot shit in our community, and we should share our achievements, things that we've done in our projects, in our daily work. So if I've heard, hey, after one day I finally fixed this bug and it took so long, that's something that we can celebrate, something that we can say, that was really cool that that you've finally fixed that one. Or like, in my company, I'm like, yes, one less project on version 6.2 because I've upgraded it. That's something to celebrate. There's so many small things. It's not about like, whoa, cool new feature in core. It's about, hey, I created an extension and it actually it saves me 10 minutes per day. I just created that. I'm really happy. We can celebrate and celebrate our achievements. And share this stuff. So maybe it's time for you to start a blog because you're really good in writing, but instead of coding. Maybe you're good in helping others, and you're like, I helped 100 people in the last 2 months. That would be something cool, or it doesn't even need to be 100. I'm really happy to have 2 people, or to help 2 people already. Maybe it's a thing that's like, I have this colleague and he really hates TYPO3, right? My goal is to have him convinced to have him convinced that TYPO3 is a really cool thing in 1 year. Let's meet here again and share our achievements, what we've done, and set our goals. the main issue is then people are like, Benni, I don't have that much time. Again, it's a lot of, I'm really bad in management, so it's hard for me to set priorities. And every time it's my birthday, I get older. And last year, I'm like, I want to read more books because then I get smarter, hopefully. Of course, not just comics, but books. I usually read one book, and it takes 2 years to read that book. So I haven't read a lot of books in the last decade. So I thought, okay, I'll come up with something that I can achieve. So I had this book half finished, and I'm like, okay, let's start this one book that I read for a long time. I'm just going to finish that. Every time I go to work, I commute for 25 minutes. I take my cell phone and browse and read stuff and news and whatever. I decided, okay, for 1 year, I'm going to read 12 books, 1 book per month. And we read the passion and dedication stuff. It's like, I'll do that. I have a lot of books that I bought and I've never read. I'll just start with the first one. Well, maybe I'll just finish the book first in the first month. And I did that. And I don't know, it's been 10 months and I read 9 books. Well, I didn't achieve my goal yet, but it was way better than before. So maybe that's something for you to get some grip on how you can achieve something. Well, it's better to do this while I'm commuting instead of, I'm really still a slow reader, but I'm still, I just need to find time slots where I can do this kind of stuff. I do core work. I have to do, or I also love to do regular projects and do daily business. And what I do is I get up earlier in the morning, every day, most of the days, go to work at 5:30 and work for TYPO3 core for 2 hours because nobody's interrupting me. That's really nice. I code, I fix bugs, I do reviews, I write news, whatever that's necessary, and I have these 2 hours. And some people are just like, okay, if I write a test now for this project, then I know it's going to work, and I have more time in the afternoon to do stuff. Maybe that's something for you to figure out, to find time to do things. And then once you've done that, I start now by telling everyone what I've done. Oh, Benni is doing so much cool stuff. Everybody of you can share this. So I created on Slack an achievements channel where you can write the small and the big things that you've achieved. We've just relaunched this project. I created this extension. Hey, look at my blog post. And we can just share our excitement and the things that we've done. And maybe at the coding night, you might want to join the TYPO3.org team. That's Stefan, actually, who just helped me with the headset. He's the guy to talk to. I would love to have some Twitter or Facebook integration into TYPO3.org where we can actually share these kind of things, and it's automatically updated. So I guess there are maybe 1 or 2 people who actually built something like that in TYPO3 already, something to integrate Facebook into a website. That's exactly what you do with TYPO3.org. And maybe Stefan can help you with that, to achieve that. We should celebrate all the small changes that we do. If there's one more agency in, I don't know, Africa, we should celebrate this. If there's one more exciting person about TYPO3, we should celebrate this. We should be really proud of what we're doing. And if we're doing a coding night, we can also start blogging about the things that we've done. So actually, I don't know so many things. I actually have a friend of mine, he's having this website, usetypo3.com. It's actually a blog, and I use this for looking up things I have to do on my projects. And he's just actually sharing things that happened in core that actually I built. I forgot about him. I have to look it up. I look at his blog because he wrote so clearly how to use that. So it's just so great to have so many things that just pop up when I search on Google or Bing to find so many things about TYPO3. We should share, we need to share this stuff, and we should celebrate this. So to sum it all up, you are the secret weapon. All of us are the secret weapon, and X marks your spot and not version 10. So that's it. Thanks.